After 3 seasons of heart-stopping tension and a body count that's tough to keep track of, the main story of Squid Game has officially hit its end. But what does the future hold for the franchise? We're about to break down the crazy theories behind what's next, so be sure to subscribe and let's get into it. The show's creator, Hwang Dong-hyuk, has confirmed that Season 3 was the planned finale, bringing Seong Gi-hun's journey to a tragic but definitive end. When the words "game over" appeared on screen, they meant it, at least for Gi-hun. But the show's final moments didn't just slam one door shut. They blew another one wide open for a whole new story to explore. The game in Korea might be finished, but the organization is global, and it looks like its tentacles are now reaching American soil. This single reveal has started a firestorm of speculation online, with fans piecing together every clue to figure out what happens next. There will be no official Season 4, but the world of Squid Game is far from over, and it's leading to some of the wildest theories. The biggest hint to the franchise's future came in the final scene. We see the Frontman, having left the Korean games in his past, now in Los Angeles. As he's sitting in his car, he hears that familiar rhythmic slapping of dakji. He looks across the street into an alleyway and sees a well-dressed woman playing the game with a disheveled man. But this isn't just any recruiter, it's a surprise cameo from the legendary actress Cate Blanchett. This one scene does a lot more than just hint at a spin-off. The star power confirms it will be the next big step towards something bigger. The knowing look she gives the Frontman tells us that the American operation is not only up and running, but is part of the same massive, shadowy network. This isn't a reboot or a remake being teased, it's a direct continuation of the world, showing that the deadly competition is an international plague. The immediate question this raises is what role this new, high-profile recruiter is going to play in the story. The Fincherverse spin-off. Rumors about an American version of the show got a huge boost of credibility with reports that powerhouse director David Fincher is attached to lead the project. Fincher, who is famous for his dark, meticulous, and psychologically twisted style in movies like Fight Club and Gone Girl, not to mention the Netflix series Mindhunter, seems like a perfect, if terrifying, fit for the Squid Game universe. His involvement suggests the spin-off won't be some watered-down copy of the original, but a dark, stylish, and completely unique series. To add even more credit, Dennis Kelly, the creator of the cult hit British thriller Utopia, is reportedly writing the scripts. Kelly's work is known for its complicated conspiracies and relentlessly bleak tone, which fits perfectly with the core ideas of Squid Game. Ready to explore the dark side of society through a uniquely American lens. Cate Blanchett's past work with David Fincher on The Curious Case of Benjamin Button is fueling theories that she could be a main character in the new series. Will she be the new public face of the American games? Her brief scene already gave off an air of cold authority, making her a solid successor to the villains we already know. Having the show set in America changes the whole motives behind its social commentary. The original series was a sharp critique of South Korea's debt crisis and the massive gap between the rich and the poor. An American version, especially with Fincher at the helm, could explore uniquely American fears like the gig economy, the healthcare crisis, crushing student loan debt, and the desperate chase for an American dream that's been twisted into a literal fight for your life. The Frontman's redemption arc. One of the most popular and interesting theories to come out of the finale is all about the Frontman, In-ho. After he watched Gi-hun's ultimate sacrifice to save a newborn baby, it seemed like a little bit of his humanity flickered back to life. He delivered the baby and the prize money safely, and cut his ties with the Korean operation. Now in America, he's a man without a clear mission, a free agent who has seen the absolute worst of the system he helped run. A viral theory suggests that In-ho will actually be the protagonist of the American spin-off. With his faith in people restored by Gi-hun's final act, he could now be on a mission to destroy the very organization he used to serve. He's the perfect person for the job, since he has inside knowledge of how the games work, their security, and their entire philosophy. He would basically become the new Gi-hun, but with a serious insider's advantage. This kind of story would create a strong link between the original series and the spin-off, giving fans a familiar and complex character to follow into this new world. In-ho's journey from a game winner to a ruthless overseer and then to a potential hero is a rich, tragic arc. Turning him into a figure of opposition would be a great way to explore redemption, asking if someone who has done such terrible things can ever truly repent for their past. However, some fans are against this idea, arguing that the American show needs to stand on its own 2 feet without leaning on characters from the original. They believe that a clean break would let the new series build its own identity and stakes, free from the shadow of the Korean story. For them, linking the 2 shows so directly through a main character might feel forced and could hold back the creative freedom of the new team. A prequel story. While the American spin-off is coming soon, creator Hwang Dong-hyuk has also mentioned another very different idea. He has shown interest in exploring the 3-year gap between Season 1 and Season 2. This wouldn't be a sequel, but more of a prequel-style spin-off, diving into the parts of the Squid Game world we never got to see while Gi-hun was searching for answers. This potential series could go down a few roads. It could show us the lives of the masked guards and officers when they aren't in the arena, revealing who these anonymous figures are and how they get recruited for such a horrible job. What does a pink-suited soldier do on his day off? This angle could make the show's critique of how systems can turn normal people into cogs in a cruel machine even deeper. Another option for a prequel could be a more detailed backstory for the frontman. We know he was a previous winner and the brother of Detective Hwang Jin-ho, but a lot of his transformation is still a mystery. A series focused on his story would be a dark character study, showing how a desperate contestant could become the cold, calculating enforcer for the entire evil operation. This prequel idea would work to build up the lore of the series we already love, answering long-standing questions and adding new layers to the world without moving the main story forward at all, leaving it up to the American series. It would be less of a continuation and more of an expansion, fleshing out the universe in a way that makes the original story even more powerful. It's still just a faint idea for the creator, but it's an exciting one. Controversies and reactions. The idea of an American Squid Game hasn't been met with cheers from everyone. A large part of the fan base has voiced worries, fearing that a Western version might miss the cultural details that made the original so powerful. The show's success was tied to its specific South Korean setting, and just moving it to a new location risks losing that sharp-edged commentary. One of the most common complaints about the finale's teaser scene was the use of dokji. Fans on forums have called the choice lazy and uninspired. They argue that the recruitment game should have been a classic American childhood game to properly localize the idea. For them, watching Americans play a distinctly Korean game felt out of place and broke the immersive feeling of the world. Beyond specific creative choices, there's a bigger fear that an American version will just become a big spectacle without any real substance. The original show was a brutal critique of capitalism, but its viral success also turned it into a massive commercial product, an irony the creator himself has pointed out. Fans worry that a US spin-off, especially one trying to appeal to a global audience, might put action and thrills ahead of the high-quality social message. The sharpest criticism is the comparison to the viral MrBeast games that recreated the show's games for a video series. Some fans are afraid the official spin-off will feel like a higher-budget version of that goofy, as one user called it, and stripped of the original's soul. The heart of Squid Game was Gi-hun and his journey, and with his story now over, many are skeptical that any new character can capture that same lightning in a bottle. The MrBeast theory. Perhaps the wildest theory making the rounds is also the most meta. This idea suggests that the American spin-off could feature an influencer character directly inspired by people like MrBeast, or even featuring him directly. It might sound like a joke, but it touches on a fascinating and disturbing part of the show's real-world impact, the way its deadly serious themes were turned into a game for online entertainment. Imagine a situation where the American games aren't a secret, but are live-streamed on the dark web, or where a charismatic tech billionaire runs the whole competition as the ultimate form of content creation. This would be a savage commentary on influencer culture, reality TV, and the modern obsession with chasing viral fame at any cost. It would be a case of art imitating life, which was already imitating art. Or maybe even a YouTuber who makes kids believe the deadly games are just a scripted show. While it's very unlikely that MrBeast himself would show up, the American spin-off might include a story about the public being desensitized to violence and the commercialization of suffering. The organization could have changed its methods, realizing that in today's world, you don't always have to hide your horrors. Sometimes you can monetize them if you just find the right audience. This theory, even if it's a long shot, gets to the heart of the anxiety about an American version of the show. It reflects the fear that the sharp critique will be softened and replaced with a spectacle that accidentally celebrates what it once condemned. Ultimately, while Gi-hun's fight is over, the game itself clearly isn't. The end of Season 3 was a tragic close that was also a calculated new beginning. The seeds for a new, and possibly even bigger, story have been planted. Will we follow the frontman on a path to redemption as he battles the American games from the inside? Or will we be thrown in with a new set of desperate characters, led by a chilling new overseer played by Cate Blanchett? Or will we look back into the past and see the origins of the frontman in more detail? There are so many possibilities that it's hard not to be excited by at least one of them. Which would you like to see become a reality? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to see more Squid Game content and theories, click the video on screen now.